Dear students, welcome to Tungala online classes. So today I am going to start with the third chapter, that is Kingdom Plantae, right? So as you know, 5 kingdom system of classification. R.H. Whittaker is the name of the scientist, the one who did this one, right? He classified all the organisms into 5 kingdoms, right? So R.H. Whittaker is the name of the scientist, the one who classified all the organisms into 5 kingdoms. First one is Monera, second one is Protista, third one is Mycota, Metaphyta, as well as Metazoa. So these are the 5 kingdoms that we come across here, right? In that we have to focus on Metaphyta. That is also called as Kingdom Plantae, and Metazoa is also known as Kingdom Animalia, right? So we have to study this kingdom, that is Kingdom Plantae. So further classification of the plants is studied over here in this chapter. Before that one, so the understanding of this Kingdom Plantae that changed over the time, right? In past, so usually in past what happened was, so Monera, Protista, Mycota. These are the groups of organisms which were included in Kingdom Metaphyta. Why they were included in Metaphyta is because all these 3 groups of organisms have cell wall to their cells, right? All these groups of organisms have cell wall, and even so Metaphyta, which includes all plants cells have cell wall, right? So here these are including all plants have also cell wall. Because of this reason, so all these organisms were included in Metaphyta, right? That is Kingdom Plantae, right? But nowadays, so all these groups of organisms, they have been excluded. Why they have been excluded, right? Because of their different characteristic features. Not only a single characteristic feature was considered for the classification of organisms, so many number of characteristic features are considered for the classification of organisms. So because of this reason, all these were separated and they were made independent kingdoms itself. And apart from this one more aspect, that is cyanobacterias. So these are commonly known as blue-green algae, and these blue-green algae, they were included into algae. They are included into algae previously. So these algae come under the Metaphyta, right? So these cyanobacteria or the blue-green algae, so were included in Metaphyta, but nowadays they have been removed. Why? Because these cyanobacteria are basically prokaryotes and algae are eukaryotes. So because of this reason, so they have been removed from algae itself, right? This is how the understanding of a Kingdom Plantae that changed over the time, right? Apart from all these aspects, some more aspects are also there. So what they are, systems of classification also help us to know how all these plants, they have been classified, on what basis they have been classified. So there are different systems of classifications that you have studied in the second chapter, biological classification. So let us see them and we'll come to know what are the basis of those systems of classification. So there are three systems of classification are there. First one is artificial system of classification, and second one is natural system of classification, and third one is phylogenetic system of classification. First one, that is artificial system of classification. Systems of classification. There are different systems of classification that we come across. First one is artificial system of classification. First one is artificial system of classification. So in this type of a system of classification, so they considered, means many of the scientists supported this system. So like Aristotle, Theophrastus, they supported this system itself, right? Aristotle, Theophrastus are the scientists, the one who supported this system, and according to themselves, they considered only few number of morphological features. They considered only few number of morphological characters for the classification of organisms, right? And those morphological features like habit of the plant, habitat, right? And number of leaves and even shapes of leaves was considered for the classification. And such kind of morphological features, they are also called as vegetative characteristic features, right? They considered vegetative characteristic features and gave equal importance to what? Sexual characters as well as vegetative characters, or they gave equal weightage to both vegetative and sexual characters for the classification of organisms. And here Carolus, Linnaeus, he considered the structure of androsium, that is number of stamens, you know, number of stamens, right? So this is one flower, right? This flower has stamens over here, and this is calyx, or this is sepal, this is petal, this is thalamus, right, of the flower. This is ovary of the flower. What he considered is androsium, all these set of stamens called as androsium. Single one is called as stamen. Single one is called as stamen. Number of stamens he considered over there, right? If a single stamen is there, whether it is 2 stamen having flower or 3 stamen having flower, like this, based on that androsium character or the structure, so he classified the plants, right? This way they considered only few observable or morphological or vegetative characters were considered for the classification of plants, right? And this system of classification, that is artificial system of classification, failed. Why? Because we know very much that vegetative parts of the plant body are easily affected by the environment. What happens here? Vegetative parts of plant are easily affected by environment, For that reason, this is not acceptable one. This system of classification is not acceptable one and more proper one. Of course, morphological features are considered for the classification. Along with that one, there is a need of consideration of plenty number of characteristic features. So, what the next system of classification says, let us see. And second one is natural system of classification. In natural system of classification, natural affinities among the organisms were considered, right? What was considered here? Natural affinities amongst the organisms or natural relationships were considered for the classification, and this was not only considering, means this system was not only considering the gross superficial morphological features, but also considered internal features, right? It not only considered morphological features, but also internal features. Internal features like, number one, what kind of internal features are considered for the classification? Right? Ultrastructure, ultrastructure was considered here, anatomy, physiological aspects. Physiological aspects were also considered over here, right? All these are the internal factors, that is phytochemistry was also considered over here for the classification of organisms. Okay, so this system was supported by Bentham and Hooker, right? Bentham and Hooker are the two scientists, the one who supported this system of classification, and they mentioned, means they classified all the higher plants and they mentioned it in one of the publication called as Genera Plantarum, right? One of the publication called as Genera Plantarum is the name of the publication in which, so he mentioned the classification of all the higher plants. Okay, so this this system has their own positive points, that is advantages. What are the advantages? Advantages of this system of classification. So first one is it brings about natural relationships amongst the organisms. It brings about natural relationships amongst the organisms. And second advantage is this system of classification well separated the unrelated organisms and they grouped the related organisms, or they kept the related organisms in one particular group. Say for example, I would like to give one example. Whale is one mammal, bat is also one mammal, right? So both are kept in one group. Whale itself is one of the fish, right? One of the fish character having a, so animal it is, right? But it is mammal. So bat is flying one, but it is not included in birds, right? So this way both of themselves are kept in one group, and so birds as well as bats are well separated, right? So that is why second advantage is this system well separated unrelated organisms and related one are kept in one group. Related one are kept in one group, right? So this is how, so this natural system of classification became the first acceptable system of classification. And next one is phylogenetic system of classification. Third one, phylogenetic system of classification. Here the word itself mentions phylogeny or phylogenetical, that is nothing but evolutionary relationship. Phylogeny in the sense that evolutionary relation, right? So this system of classification gave more importance to evolutionary relationships. Means classification of organisms have been done based on evolutionary relations, right? Based on evolutionary relations, right? Or evolutionary relationships. And this was initially proposed by Engler and Prandtl. Engler and Prandtl are the two scientists, the one who initiated this system of classification, and later it is followed by another scientist, Hutchinson, and later Cronquist are the new scientists. They followed the same system of classification, right? According to this system of classification, the organisms which come under one taxon. What is a taxon? It is a classificatory group of the taxonomical hierarchy or Linnean hierarchy, as I had mentioned and gave the definition for this taxon in the first chapter, right? So organisms coming under one taxon have a common ancestry. What this phylogenetic system of classification says? So the organisms coming under one taxon, I shall write here one taxon. So what are the taxons? Species is there, genera is there, family is there, order, class, right? Kingdom, all these are the taxons that we have studied. One taxon I would like to write over here, that is order. Order. Which order I am going to consider over here is Primata. Order Primata. It is during the systematic position of human being, we have come across this order Primata, right? This order Primata is one of the taxons, and this taxon has different groups of animals over here. Say for example, human being is there, as well as gorilla is there, along with this one monkeys are there. So all these are the different groups of organisms, they come under order Primata. And according to this system of classification, what it says is all these animals have a common ancestry. The ancestor is single. Before the formation of all these groups of animals, only one ancestor was there. This ancestor is responsible for the formation of the human being, and the same ancestor is responsible for formation of gorilla as well as monkeys. So these have a common ancestor. From this common ancestor, the origin of all these different groups of animals have been made, right? So this system of classification says, of course it is right. Hence, so this system of classification became the most acceptable one, right? This became most acceptable one. Apart from this one more fact to be known to us. So this system of classification has the basis of, or they consider the fossils. Here fossils are considered for the classification of organisms. Means fossils play very important role in this system of classification. This is very important aspect to be known to you people, right? So these are different systems of classification helped us to know some things, means so how the characters are considered for the classification of the plants as well as other organisms even. So apart from this one, as we know, science has advanced a lot. Nowadays a lot of advancements are seen in science. That is why so we consider not a single character or not few characteristic features so as to classify the organisms, and we are not using only the fossils as the source of the classification. Okay, even though the absence of fossils help us to classify the organisms by considering hundreds of characteristic features, right? What they are actually, what are other sources? You know what is taxonomy, right? Taxonomy. There different types of taxonomies we have already studied, right? Those types of taxonomies, so what they say, what they consider, how do they help us in classification of organisms? Let us see. So types of taxonomy. First one, numerical taxonomy. First one is numerical taxonomy. In this type of taxonomy, numerical aspects are used so as to evaluate similarities and dissimilarities among the species, right? So numerical aspects are considered for the evaluation of similarities and dissimilarities dissimilarities between the species or different among the species, right? So these numerical aspects are considered for evaluation of similarities and dissimilarities with the help of the computer, with the help of computer. And one point to be noted here, here all the characteristic features are given equal value, right? All the characteristic features, whatever we consider, they are given equal importance. All characters are given equal importance for the classification. And one more thing we must know is, of course, we are giving more importance to all the characteristic features, and at a time hundreds of characters are considered for classification of organisms. At the same time, hundreds of characters have been considered over here for the classification of organisms. This is more important thing regarding the numerical taxonomy, is one type of taxonomy, right? Apart from this one, second one is cytotaxonomy. Cytotaxonomy, I had mentioned the names only, right? Cyto stands for cell, taxonomy, cytological taxonomy it is also called as. And so karyotaxonomy is another one. Karyon means nucleus, right? Nuclear aspects have been considered over here. Here cytological aspects are considered over here, like number of chromosomes number is considered over here, and structure of chromosomes is considered over here, and behavior of chromosomes is also considered over here. All these are the cytological aspects are considered for the classification of organisms. Okay, this is cytotaxonomy. And third one is chemotaxonomy. What is this chemotaxonomy says? Chemo means chemicals. Chemical aspects have been considered over here. What kind of chemical aspects have been considered over here for the classification is DNA sequence. DNA sequence. You will study in detailed manner. So regarding this DNA sequence, right? What is this DNA sequence? You will study in PUC too, right? Apart from this one, chemical nature of the proteins. Chemical nature of proteins is also considered over here. Chemical nature of proteins is also considered over here. And crystals are considered over here. Crystals, right? Crystals are considered over here. So such kind of many number of chemical aspects have been considered for the classification of organisms. This is about another one, that is chemotaxonomy. Such kind of many more number of taxonomies are also the main sources for the classification, even though there is no fossils as the main source for the classification of organisms. Okay, so these are the sources would help us to classify the organisms, right? And we'll come to the main core of the chapter. That is core part of the chapter, that is plants. So basically we are going to classify the plants, and after the classification, so we go through the study of the characteristic features of each groups of plants one by one. Now classification of plants. So plants are basically classified into two major groups. Plants are basically classified into two major groups based on whether the plant body is differentiated or non-differentiated, right? If the plant body is not differentiated, then those plants, they come under the group that is Thallophyta. Means plant body is not differentiated into root, stem, leaf, likewise, right? If the plant body is differentiated into leaf, stem, roots, right? So this way undifferentiated plant body, they are Thallophyta. They are mentioned to be as Thallophyta. Here plant body is differentiated, right? Plant body is differentiated. And these plants, once again, they have been classified into two groups. Of course, plant body is differentiated, right? But, so here, these plants, whether these plants have vascular bundles or not, here, non-vascular plants and vascular plants. Means vascular bundles are absent over here, vascular bundles are present over here, right? This classification I have already explained in bridge course itself, right? Non-vascular plants, they are bryophytes. So bryophytes are Bryophyta, right? Amphibian plants, these are called as. And vascular plants, whether they are seed bearing one or not bearing any seed, right? Here not bearing seed, and these plants are, they bear seed, are called as phanerogams. What they are simply called as phanerogams. Seed bearing plants are called as phanerogams. See, not bearing any seeds, so these are Pteridophyta. These are Pteridophyta. And seed bearing plants, once again we classify here. Seed bearing plants, once again we classify here. This is not the classification, okay? Seed bearing plants, sometimes some plants are bearing naked seeds. They bear naked seeded plants. And some plants bear seeds encovering covered by fruit. Seeds uncovered by fruit, right? This way they are of 2. Naked seeded plants are, gymnosperms. Okay, gymnosperms. And seed with fruit wall, they are angiosperms. They are angiosperms, of course. And the next one is these angiosperms. These angiosperms once again classified into 2 groups. Angiosperms are classified into 2 groups based on whether these plants bear seeds with only 1 cotyledon or seeds with 2 cotyledons, right? Whether these plants bear seeds with 1 cotyledon, seeds with 1 cotyledon, okay, they are called as monocotyledonae. The plant group is called as monocotyledonae. Here 2 cotyledons. These are called as dicotyledonae. Right? Dicotyledonae. Monocotyledonae are the monocots and dicots. This way, so we are going to classify all different kinds of groups of plants on different bases itself. Right? Once again, I shall go through this classification. Plants are basically classified based on whether the plant body is differentiated into root, stem or leaf. So, if it is undifferentiated, they come under Thallophyta. Right? Algae we study here. Algae. We study the first group of plants, algae. Okay. And the second one, plant body which is differentiated, and once again these plants are classified based on the presence or absence of vascular bundles. Based on vascular bundles, they have been classified. Whether these plants have xylem or phloem or not, right? Non-vascular plants, vascular plants. Non-vascular plants are bryophytes. They do not have any vascular bundles like xylem and phloem, right? And vascular plants, once again they have been classified into different types based on whether they are bearing seeds or not. If they are not bearing any seeds, they are pteridophytes. These are the first vascular plants. See here, so this is the second group of plant. First one is algae, second one is bryophyta, third one is pteridophyta. And seed bearing plants are called as phanerogams, and these phanerogams once again classified into 2 groups. Whether the seed is naked or uncovered by fruit wall. If it is naked seeded plant, then they are gymnosperms. This is the 4th group of plants. And 5th group of plant is angiosperms. Okay, and next angiosperms are further classified into 2 groups. One is dicots and second one is monocots based on the number of cotyledons in the seed. This is how the complete classification of plants is been done. So, in the next video, we study in detailed manner the general characteristic features of different groups of plants and their respective classification. Thank you.